So I want to teach you guys today how I was able to increase my testosterone from 361 all the way to over 1,369. It took me around a year or so to get that transformation, but I was able to have like a series of 3 different transformations, and I want to teach you guys how I did that. So first things first is I went from 361 in around November time to 511 testosterone in around like a 6 to 8 month period. And then from that 511 number, I went to 1369. So that was where like the real jump happened, and that only took me around 6 months. So the first 6 months was kind of me like implementing what I'm going to tell you in this video, and I got okay results, and I got from 361 to 511. And then the second transformation, where I went from 511 to 1369, that was when I implemented everything. I finally understood all of the pieces that I was missing to be able to get the results that I got. And I'm going to teach you exactly how you could do that for yourself. Now, the actual backstory on how I got here, and some of the things that I was doing, so that you can know if you're doing the same things, that you should just get these out of the way immediately, is when it comes to dieting, when it comes to your lifestyle, you have to reflect and assess on what you've been told is correct your whole life, because this is what I had to do initially to be able to get to where I am today. I grew up in an Italian household, and we were accustomed to eating pastas, breads, rice, oils, just like heavy carb-based foods that were not supporting the production of my testosterone. Okay? So the first big change that I made was what I was eating. So I switched and got rid of all of those foods I just said to you. And now all I pretty much eat is gonna be like anything that's animal-based. I classify my diet in the animal-based category. It doesn't really matter necessarily, but the priority is things that build my testosterone. Because if you don't eat red meats, if you don't eat eggs, if you don't eat fruits, if you don't eat avocados, if you don't eat these types of foods, you don't have the necessary building blocks. You don't have any cholesterol to be able to support testosterone production. And when you don't have cholesterol, when you don't have minerals, vitamins that are coming from the earth, from animals, you just can't build testosterone. It's like scientifically impossible to do so. So I'll give you a little sample day in my life of what I actually eat. I do a lot of fasting. So intermittent fast every single day until around 1 to 2 p.m. Then I'll have a pretty sizable meal. So the first meal of the day is gonna be 1 pound of grass-fed, grass-finished ground beef or some steak. Then I'll have 3 to 4 eggs, half an avocado, and then typically a bowl of blueberries. And then I'll either repeat that meal at night, or I won't have any carbs before I go to bed, because the fruit has carbs, but I minimize my carbs a lot, and I just focus on getting the healthy fats and the protein. So at night, I'll have 4 to 6 more eggs. So like in total for the day, it's around 8 to 10 eggs. And then I'll have maybe salmon if I want to mix up and I want to have some fish, or I'll just have another steak or some more ground beef. And then also for food, hydration is very important. Get rid of tap water. I was drinking tap water when I was younger, and I had so much brain fog. Tap water is super contaminated. Even if your city is on the good side, which there are cities that classify themselves like that, it doesn't matter. It's so contaminated with phytoestrogens, these different like defense chemicals that come from your sewage plants. They're not filtered out properly. So I'd recommend getting a reverse osmosis water filtration system, or just drinking water out of a glass bottle, like from the store. That's gonna be your best bet, because then you're minimizing the microplastics that are typically in tap water and also in bottled water. If you're getting like Aqua Panna, Pellegrino, these are better alternatives if you don't want to drop a lot of money on a reverse osmosis filtration system. So that's the first thing that I changed, is what I ate. Now, the second thing that you guys need to focus on that was really, really important for me was fixing your sleep and your stress. A lot of people are hyper anxious, hyper-stressed, high cortisol individuals. Now, this makes sense for a plethora of different reasons. Now, the two main reasons is gonna do with like social media and then dopamine destruction. The reason that you feel stressed and anxious and like you have no control over like what your body feels like is because you're overstimulated. One of the biggest and most simple changes is cutting out the amount of time you scroll on your phone and the amount of time that you waste basically dopamine surging your brain in the mornings and at the nights. Those are the most important times because this is gonna dysregulate your circadian rhythm and your sleep schedule. Because sleep is where testosterone is produced between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. So if you don't get good sleep because you stay up too late scrolling on your phone, or when you wake up in the morning, you start scrolling or just checking your phone, and the blue light that's emitted from that has been proven to mess up your hormone production, mess up your endocrine system, which therefore is going to lower testosterone, then what do you expect, right? So this is what I changed. I don't look at my phone for the first 30 minutes of the day and the last 30 minutes of the day. This has drastically helped me improve the amount of deep sleep I get and REM sleep that I get. And I use the 8 sleep pod. That's how I track like how my quality of sleep is. So I know like the amount of hours I'm getting in those different cycles, and I notice it from one night to the next. If I do end up like doing more work or staying up later than I normally do, my sleep takes a hit from that. And then I notice that the next day I don't have as much energy. And if I went to go get a blood test, I'm sure my testosterone would be lower. Okay? So fixing your sleep, fixing your stress, that's the second thing that's gonna be really, really important for you. The third thing is gonna be the personal care products that you use and removing all of the bad shit in your life. So like, for example, in your shower, you take maybe 1 to 2 showers every single day. That water, if it doesn't have a filter on it, is going to be filled with xenoestrogens, parabens, phthalates, and all of these different estrogenic chemicals that have been proven to lower testosterone, disrupt your hormones, and basically just give you a ton of brain fog. Because your skin is the biggest organ in your body, or on your body in this case. And if you don't take care of the things that are basically going into your body, then that's the byproduct. It's gonna be lower testosterone, it's gonna be brain fog, and a lack of mental clarity, which is obviously not what you want. So what I did was basically just assess all of the personal care products that I was using. The shampoo products, the deodorant, the soaps, whether it's for your body or for your hands, doesn't matter. The shower filters, all of these different things, the colognes you use, the perfumes, whatever it is, all of these things contain estrogenic chemicals. So if you can get rid of them or find much better alternatives, which doesn't take that much research, you just kind of need to know about it to be able to fix it, you will be absolutely shocked at how much of a change that makes once you just get rid of all of those things that were messing you up. Because I always like to say the easiest thing you could do is not add stuff, it's just get rid of things. So always kind of take that approach mentally, okay? So that's the third thing, is gonna be getting rid of those personal care products that are messing you up, okay? Fourth thing, supplementation, right? So my basic supplement stack for you is gonna be Tongkat Ali, L-theanine, magnesium glycinate, zinc, boron, and those are the 5 main ones. Ashwagandha I've used, but it's not that necessary. I'd say priority-wise is Tongkat Ali and L-theanine are the top 2. Tongkat Ali in the morning, L-theanine before you go to bed. If you don't dream and you take L-theanine before you go to bed, I promise you, oh my God, the dreams are insane. The sleep is absolutely night and day difference when you take L-theanine versus when you don't, because it basically puts you into alpha brainwaves, and when you're sleeping, it gets you very relaxed. And the more relaxed you are, the more likely you are to enter those deeper stages of sleep, which will allow you to dream, and you'll wake up feeling very, very energized and restored. Other supplements that I've taken, I've taken multivitamins, I've done all that type of stuff. I do black seed oil, but that doesn't directly correlate to my testosterone production or increase like that, but I figured I'd share it anyway. The main ones are the ones that I just shared. You don't need supplements at all, but if you want, I'm sure you want to know my supplement list. Those are what I take at the current moment. Now, the last piece to this is like, as a man, ancestrally, you have to shift your mentality to the idea of your body won't produce testosterone until it's signaled that it needs to produce testosterone. Now, what do I mean by this? When I was younger and I had low testosterone, I had no purpose. I was drinking a lot of alcohol. I was smoking a lot of weed. I was vaping. I was reliant on substances to numb my mind from what I knew I needed to fix and to do to start actually serving a greater purpose in my life and then for those around me. Now, what this did for my testosterone level and what it will do for your testosterone level is honestly pretty simple. I gave this analogy before, and I want to give it to you guys again. Ancestrally, just think about warriors and soldiers. What did they do that made them stronger than the people that lived in their village, that made them more intellectual, that made them more of that warrior masculine aura? It was their purpose. It was who they believed they were internally, right? They were a soldier. They were strong. They were capable. They needed to be those things to be able to provide for their family, their wife, their kids, and the rest of the village. There was a greater purpose, right? They were serving God, whether they knew it or not. That is, in essence, what they were doing by serving their highest masculinity. So if you, right now, hear me say that and think to yourself that you don't have that in your life, I strongly encourage that you adopt that. And the way that I was able to adopt that was, once again, by adopting this removal process first. Remove all of the things that are numbing your mind and your body from feeling what you should feel that is reality, to tell you what is actually necessary to make that change, to become a better version of yourself. Because once I removed the drugs that I was using, maybe it's not drugs for you, but you know what it is. It could be porn, it could be food, it could be your emotional states of being, negativity, whatever it is, removing these things, it'll now free up and clear your mind from all the fog to where you can see what you actually need to do every single day. And now you'll feel that weight lifted from your shoulder and off of your heart, to where now you can actually move on a day-to-day basis with intention and purpose. And a man who moves like that commands high testosterone for himself, and in turn gets that as a direct byproduct. And if you do that, and the other 4 things I said, I most certainly guarantee that your testosterone will absolutely go up. All right? Now, just to give you guys some proof here for how my clients have implemented this, I've had a few different clients. 2 that come to mind is going to be Luke and David, and they were both able to increase their testosterone. Luke doubled it, and David increased it almost 1,000, just like me, in the span of a 6 months to a year period. Now, if you want to get results just like them, then you could join my school community in the description below. And that's basically where I go into absolute in-depth breakdowns. I have over 25 video modules on everything that you need to do when it comes to building your habits, your mindset, your training, your nutrition, and then optimizing your testosterone to become the best version of yourself. So if you want to do that, go click on the link in the description. And if you want to get more free value out of my page, then just watch this next video on screen where I break down the morning routine that I personally use that tripled my testosterone.